Good afternoon, everybody. I want to call this meeting to order. My name is Frank Baker. I'm the county administrator. I'm the acting chairperson today. Our chairperson is Ann Lippman, and she's unavailable. She's our community development director. So I'm sitting in for her today. I want to introduce the folks on the committee so everybody knows who they are. To my far left is Mr. Bruce Coyle. He's our county engineer. Next to him and just next to me is Mr. George Jones. He's our director of DOT. To my immediate right is Mr. Jason Phillips. He's our county attorney. And to my far right is Ms. Lori Ashmore, who is our director of water and sewer. So we're glad everybody's here today. Done the introductions. I'd ask the committee at this time to take a look at the minutes, and I'll entertain a motion. Meanwhile, while they're doing that, if everybody could just make sure that if you got any phones on, if you can put them to silent or vibrate, that'd be great. I'm going to check mine as y'all are checking yours.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, I have a motion to approve from
Second.
Mr. Coyle, and I have a
Sorry.
second from Ms. Ashmore. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? A motion passes 4-0-0. Okay, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and we'll start the agenda. The first agenda item is 2019-04-V Victor. And the application is by Piedmont Residential / Ryan Bobbitt on approximately 0.70 acres for Manchester Meadows subdivision, lots 38 and 39, 102 and 94, Suzie Creek Lane, proposed stream buffer variance, development regulation 12.5.1, with mitigation for the construction of single-family dwellings. Property is located in land lot 521, District 1, Section 3, west of Villa Rica Highway, south of Belmont Road, and that is in Commission Post 2. So at this time, I'd like for the applicant to come forward. If you could sign in and present your application.
Committee members, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Chuck Rand. I'm with the Essen Engineering Group. I'm a consultant that is working with Piedmont Residential on this application. Do have with me the applicant, Ryan Bobbitt, who is with Piedmont Residential, who can speak to any of the Piedmont items that you may have. But I'd like to go ahead and tell you about the specifics of what we're asking for today. The water's edge on these two lots, and the 25-foot stream buffer and the 40-foot county stream buffer, where they were platted back when this subdivision was originally final platted with the county, are in a different location from where the actual water's edge and the 25-foot state buffer and the 40-foot county buffer. Now, there's been a little bit of time that has went on since this development was originally platted till now, and it was at some point to a position of the builder that they potentially could have used the old platted buffer line as far as their reference for construction. But they did want to bring this to you and get your opinion on it as well, to clean up any future issues that may arise out of somebody trying to sell or convey the constructed house once they get through the construction. So what we're asking for today, with where the buffers are actually located, where they're actually located ends up being a hardship on this lot from the ability to be able to construct and grade and place a house. So what we're asking for is, in lieu of staying with the field verified 40-foot county buffer, we want to take that back to the 25-foot stream buffer, which is regulated by the state. I know this body does not have any decision-making ability to reduce the 25-foot state buffer, but that buffer will be actually off of where the actual field located water's edge is located. We do have 2 administrative variance applications that we submitted to community development about a month ago to help take some of the distance offset off of the rear, and so we asked and were allowed to get a 5-foot reduction on the front setback. So this is working in conjunction to get it to the point that we feel, and in our opinion, gives you a buildable lot, stays within the rules of the county with staying out of the stream buffer, and allows us a buildable lot that we can continue to move forward with construction. If you have any questions, I'll reserve the rest of my time to anything y'all may have.
What surveyor did the original plat?
I believe it was Tibbetts Surveying.
And this was the old 40-foot rule that we had?
It was, this was platted prior to the adoption of the metropolitan ordinances, which the metropolitan ordinances call for a 50-foot county buffer with an additional 25-foot non-impervious buffer, which would be 75 feet. But again, this was not platted during the time that those buffers were put in place.
And that is a field run line.
That is a field run line, that is correct.
Ms. Ashmore?
Was there, this may be asking you to speculate, Buzz, but was there some change to the detention pond that resulted in this change to the water's edge?
There was, we did look into that to the extent we could, and we can't see where this really differs from what was on the construction plans. So we're a little baffled as well as why the line that was platted was shown, but we really do not know what happened in between.
Okay, thank you. The committee appreciates it. At this time, I'd like to call on anybody who'd like to speak on behalf of the application. If you want to come forward to the podium, sign in and let us know who you are. Be happy to hear from you. Okay, seeing no one. At this time, anyone who has an opposition to this application, if you'd like to be heard, please go to the podium, sign in, and let us know who you are. Okay. We have any other comments or questions?
For the record, there was a petition, a complaint filed.
Mr. Robinson, could you let the committee know if there was any opposition or any calls or emails in support of the application?
Sure. Our office received one letter of opposition in an email format, and there was also one customer that visited the counter with opposition.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from the committee? Any questions? All right, this time I'd entertain a motion on the application.
Motion to approve?
I've got a motion to approve from Mr. Jones. I have a second.
Second.
Second from Ms. Ashmore. I'll call the question. Well, first, any further discussion before we'll call the question? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Number 4 on our agenda is our next application. It's 2019-05-V Victor, application by Jonathan Jones on approximately 3.52 acres for the Enclave subdivision, lots 1, 15, 16, 24, 39, 43, 84, 85, 128, and 132. That's 3060 Ivy Gulledge Road. Proposed stream buffer variance, development regulation 12.5.1, to reduce the impervious setback for the construction of a larger single-family dwellings. Property is located in land lots 912, 913, 961. That's in District 3, Section 3, south of Gulledge Road, north of Dooley Road, and that is in Commission Post 4. Will the applicant come forward, sign in, and tell us who you are?
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Jonathan Jones. I'm here representing Summerlin Homes. This is it says a stream buffer variance, but it's actually impervious setback variance request for 10 lots. This is a proposed 190 lot single family development called the Enclave. Its access is totally off of Ivy Gulledge Road, and there's no intent to access this development at all from Dooley Road. Currently, there's 10 lots that the impervious setback, as you're well aware of, you can clear in it and you can grade in it. You just can't put any impervious features within it. And we're simply requesting on these 10 lots to reduce that impervious setback to be one and the same with a 50-foot county buffer. We have no intentions of disturbing any buffers for this development, for this variance. And the sole intent is to be able to fit a larger home on these 10 lots. Our mitigation proposal is to put all of the Possum Creek open space shown on the site plan in a permanent conservation easement, as well as on these particular 10 lots. At the buffer line, we intend to do 2 rows 10 foot on center of evergreen trees that'll help diminish any, runoff that would come from the homes that, hopefully help that situation, keeping in mind that we still have an additional 50-foot county buffer and 25-foot state buffer in place. And none of these variances are directly on Possum Creek itself. They're all on unnamed tributaries to Possum Creek. So I will utilize the rest of my time for any questions and or rebuttal.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me ask Mr. Robinson, before I call on anyone from the audience, have you received any calls, emails in opposition or in favor of this applicant?
Yes, our office has received 2 open records requests and 1 phone call with questions.
Okay, thank you. At this time, anyone wishing to speak on behalf of the application, if you could come forward, sign in and tell us who you are, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Okay, seeing none, I'd ask for anybody who would like to speak in opposition to this application, if you want to come forward, sign in, and let us know who you are. We'll be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily an opposition, it's more general questions. I guess first of all, my name is Mike Stevens. I'm here with Jerry Earwood. They own the adjacent property to the side and up to the top of the screen there.
Okay, if you could just sign in for us.
Yep.
And we appreciate you being behind the microphone. We're actually live streaming this. We have a requirement, any of the meetings that we have in here that are appointed or a Board of Commissioners meeting, so we appreciate you staying behind the microphone.
So which are the lots in question and which is I see the buffer zone up on the top of the screen. Is that the one that we're discussing right now, or is it a separate one?
Mr. Robinson?
It's, from what I understand, the application, it's multiple lots, that crosshatch area. See, that looks like a boot up there by lot 1, lot 15, there's 1 and 132, It's the little crosshatch area
Okay,
is
so-
what the application's about.
This is my wife's family property. This is my sister-in-law. There's a pond right on the other side that feeds from this stream. And so our concern is if you reduce the impervious area and you increase the shed to this stream, is it going to come into their property and adversely impact that pond? Has any hydraulic study been done to verify what the runoff's going to be? You know, what's the peak runoff? What are we looking at, a 50-year event? You know, what are they dealing with? You hit a 50-year event and you put houses and driveways and roads there. I'm assuming probably closed drainage systems, piping out, and that just runs into their property, slaps up the pond and floods their back area.
And the pond is where?
It's directly off the end of the screen there. It's right off the edge of the, right off the edge of the property line.
To the north?
Yeah, it's actually upstream, it's Mr. Earwood's property, is that right?
Correct.
They're upstream from us, their pond actually discharges and comes.
So it goes the other way.
Yeah, and
Okay.
actually, none of our
Okay.
variances abut their property, or only one's even close to it, and I'll be happy to show you where it's at. It's on the lower end after where your lake discharge, so if you can pan that sheet up.
Is this something we could keep with us, or does this need to stay here?
I can give you my email, and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Lot 24 is the only one that would even be close to you. And their pond, just to give you guys an idea, is upstream and directly adjacent to this property. So it flows into that creek, and then that creek flows to Possum Creek. So we're completely downstream from that.
Okay. And so then, and I don't know if this is the right place to ask this question based off of what's been requested, but obviously the lots are going to back up directly to their property on a significant portion of it. What is going to be given in the way of a natural buffer between their property, the new homes built, and my wife's property? And again, I don't know if this is the right place to ask that question, or because it doesn't seem to be part of the motion here, but I figured I'd ask anyway.
You know, that question was a planning and zoning question when the property got zoned. We're here to address the drainage buffer issue.
Fair
And
enough.
I don't know the specifics. He might know what stipulation you had on perimeter,
It's a 20-foot perimeter buffer.
20 foot.
Well, we could probably just discuss this outside then.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'll be
that's
happy
fine.
to give you all my information.
Okay, perfect. No, that's not part of this. This is all about the stream buffer. So as it discharges away from the property, I think, as far as this motion goes, we don't have anything else. So thank you.
Thank you.
The developer will have water quality calculations and basins, still in pools and whatnot. He'll have water quality. He'll be catching his runoff and treating it too.
Yeah, but for our purpose, it's running away from our property, so.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, seeing none, wanted to see if the review committee has any other comments or questions for discussion. Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion on this application.
I'll motion to approve the application as submitted.
We have a motion by Mr. Coral to approve the application. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Jones. Any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Number 5 on the agenda is 2019-06-V Victor, application by Chad Slayton for on approximately .45 acres for Sedgefield subdivision lot 85. That's 378 Thorn Creek Way, proposed stream buffer variance. Development regulation 12.5.1 with mitigation for construction of single-family dwelling. Property is located in land lots 255 321, 322, and 327. That's District 2, Section 3, west of Hiram Ackworth Highway, south of Charles Hardy Parkway, also known as State Route 120, also known as Marietta Highway. That is in Post-Commission District 1. If the applicant is here, if you could move to the podium, sign in, and tell us who you are.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Chad Slayton. I'm here for AMH Development, and I'm proposing a variance for a stream buffer. I have a large mitigation area to replace what is used in this buffer on the right-hand side of the lot. As you can see, due to the contour of the road and the county setbacks, and also the contour of the creek behind it, with also having a 40-foot buffer, I'm been unable to find a home that would fit in that, the way it squeezes the setbacks and whatnot, and able to keep the square footage to keep the neighborhood aesthetics the same, to propose to build the same size homes that is already in the neighborhood.
Your surveyor, he measured the 40, and the 40 foot was on the old plat when
Yes,
it was submitted, which we understand that. But he measured from the top of bank, he didn't measure from the edge of water or rested vegetation. If you're on top of that bank, how far down there is the water?
5 feet.
So you, I mean,
I'm good.
it's below you, or,
Yes, sir.
so actually, the buffer could have come over and you're not in the 40 foot if you measure from the water's edge.
Okay. And we've tried to, all kinds of different plans. Obviously, with the shape of the lot, you can see what I'm working with here. And this is what we've come up with that best suits the lot.
Have you got a deck or a patio or anything you're
It'll
going
have
to
a
put out
deck.
there?
It'll have a deck.
And you won't get any further than what you've drawn?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Robinson, have you received you received any letters in opposition or in favor of this application?
There have been no letters received. However, there's been one phone call with concerns, and there's also been one office visit with opposition.
Okay, thank you. At this time, anybody wishing to speak on behalf of this application, if you want to come forward, we'd be happy to hear from you. Seeing none, at this time, I would ask anybody that is in opposition to the application, if you want to come forward, we'd be happy to hear from you. Just sign in, tell us who you are, and we'll be happy to hear from you.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Maness. I live at 396 Thorn Creek Way, which is the lot adjacent to this property on the left. When I bought the lot, when I bought my lot and had the home built, I had talked to my builder about this particular lot. And I'm not here to speak on behalf of him, just stating a fact that he told me it was a non-buildable lot. I had even inquired about buying the lot and giving the lot back to the homeowners association to put some type of setting in there, a park-like setting for people who are walking their dogs, this type of thing. We have a real flooding issue there on that particular creek, and I've got some photos that I took today of what it looks like typically on an average day, but also, if I can approach y'all and let me show y'all this. We have severe flooding. We have severe flooding because this creek is also a runoff for homes that are above us on the hill and homes upstream from the small lake on the other side of 120. So when it rains, we get, this is the property, this is behind this particular property. And you can see on an average day, a nice pretty little stream. But on a day where we get an inch or two of rain, all of a sudden it becomes a real flood issue. Now my property is a little deeper We have a ranch on it, sizable home, but,
What date was that taken?
that was taken, probably about, one day last year. This is probably this is not even a real flood day. This is one good day of rain where we had maybe a couple of inches of rain. It has flooded even worse than that particular showing there. So I show you that to show that I'm not opposed to anyone building a home next door to me. I just don't want something encroaching my property line, which I know I've got no legal right to that. But just to put a home in there for the sake of putting a home on that piece of property doesn't seem the right thing to do for the aesthetics of that neighborhood. These homes have been in there, my home's been there 3 years, but a lot of the homes on Thorn Creek have been there 10 to 12 years. And we're already having a good substantial deterioration of our property line because of the flooding that you see there. My next door neighbor, her property, she's had some, actually had a partial wall put in to try to stop the erosion. I'm getting some erosion. I'm afraid that this house, if built, is going to have an erosion problem. So that 40 foot is not going to be 40 foot long. It's substantial. But just to build a home there, to build a home is not adequate. We also had another situation in the subdivision recently where they built a home as you come in on a lot that was, they really squeezed it in, which I hope the home turns out nice. It's not finished yet, but it's not the same ample size home, and it's taken away from the neighborhood is all I'm trying to say. I don't think that we need that type of home in there. And I certainly don't want to see a beautiful setting like we've got now deteriorating even more because of this extra flooding. And like I say, you'd have to live there to appreciate how much rain we get and how much water we get from above us, the subdivision behind us, when it rains. It's just, it's a lot of water that comes through there. And again, I don't want to get my house crowded in with just building anything. I'd like to know what type of home's going in there, the size of the home, make sure it's adequate, make sure it's is aesthetically the type of homes that we already have in there. These homes are valued from the $300,000 to $400,000 price range. We love Paulding County. We love the neighborhood. We just want to make sure that whatever goes on here is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You want to come forward and get your photos? We appreciate that. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in opposition? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
My name is David Horowitz, and I live at 116 Lexington Court. That property is directly behind this piece of property, across the creek, so to speak. The creek actually flows through my property, so my property goes to the other side of the creek, which would back up to this home. And I can attest to what was spoken to previously. I have plenty of videos of how raging that creek can become during heavy rainfall. The subdivision Hunter's Trace, which has Lost Mountain Creek Lake or something that's back there, the runoff from that lake goes into Powder Springs Creek, which runs behind our homes. And when I bought into this subdivision about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I was told that that was an unbuildable lot. There was 3 lots in the subdivision. So the 2 previous builders of Sedgefield knew that this property was an unbuildable lot. I feel sorry for the gentleman who's trying to build on that, but on a half-acre lot and then having that creek variance with the way that creek flows and how it could possibly erode, which it really would be eroding my property more, it's fine, but because it actually flows through my property. But I don't think we should diminish and put somebody else who's trying to purchase a home in that subdivision thinking they're going to get a good home. When I purchased there, my realtor told me as well that property and 2 others in that neighborhood were unbuildable. I really didn't understand why the other 2 were. One already had a gazebo, which was spoken of, was in front of the neighborhood, and got varianced, and there's a home on it. And now this piece of property, which is less than a half an acre, we're going to try and fit a home on that we can't seem to find a plan for, so now we're going to variance the stream. Just doesn't make sense for profitability reasons only. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
May I come back and answer some of their questions, please?
Yes, sir. That would be fine.
First of all, just wanted to kind of give them an update on what will be getting built there, if this all works out for, I've already built one in there, lot 142 in there. Was never anything said about it. Aesthetically meets everything. This here is going to be a 2,435 square foot heated home. I've built a lot of those plans for one of the builders years ago, which is a larger home than what's in there as far as heated. We do full masonry fronts. It's a very nice house, and I understand, but just because some people deem it unbuildable doesn't mean it's unbuildable. I've met all the setbacks minus because of this stream buffer, and it being 40 foot is the only issue here with this being a slab lot and ready to build on. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I have further questions. Is your surveyor in the room?
No.
No, your surveyor who submitted this in the room?
No, sir.
No, I mean, that main channel of Powder Creek Basin, that is the main creek through there? Is that correct? Because there is a flood on it, although your surveyor stated it's not in a flood hazard. But that final plat would have had a flood elevation on it.
And am I meeting that flood elevation because I'm
Well,
higher?
I mean, you're supposed to build 4 feet above it, but why doesn't your plat show that flood elevation and show your finished floor is gonna be 4 or more feet above it?
Well, I'm showing the finished floor there on that as far as what it's gonna, I've proposed it. I've got a copy of that. And it's back here on my iPad. I'd be more glad to take a look at that.
I mean, did you do a tertiary
Yes, sir.
permit for this?
Absolutely.
And did Atwell do the tertiary?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just looking, is that main channel of Powder Creek, we would have the flood elevation on it.
And I'd be more than glad to go back here and take a look at it and confirm what, if we're showing is gonna be the minimum finished floor elevation. This is a slab lot, only subwall for that reason.
Just what's presented to me is not clear right now.
Mr. Call, appreciate that. Let me ask, was there anyone else that wanted to speak in opposition? I did see your hand go up, ma'am, so I had a feeling that you wanted to speak. So if you'd like to come to the podium, I think we have some time left.
6 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want you to be left out.
Good afternoon. My name is Marie Simonsen. I live in Sedgefield subdivision. I don't live next to this lot nor across from it, but I do live in the subdivision. And I went over today and took some pictures. And from previous experiences, from what I could assess, this is the road here. And there's a wall already, a concrete wall there, and it goes down. So when it would rain, I can see soil going down. Yes, you can put grass and all that, but when it's steep like that, and I can show you some pictures if you would like. I see a lot of erosion, and over time, what happens is, may I approach, please? May I approach with you?
Mr. Robinson, do you think that the picture might be available to be seen from the camera?
We can give it a shot.
Okay. That way everybody can see it at one time.
There, and then it goes this way.
Is that okay with you, ma'am, if we do that? Okay.
Sure.
Let me zoom in, actually.
Okay, that was just a pocket of water that I saw there. I don't know the purpose of it, and it has plastic there, and the water is contained there. Okay, there's the wall I'm talking about, and if you look in front of it, you can see where it's sloping down. Here's the road, and it's going down, okay? And behind there, my camera doesn't take very good pictures, but there's the black screening that they put so it doesn't go into the creek. And from that black screening, I don't know, 5 feet or so, so I can see where soil would be going down. I tried to take some pictures, better pictures to show you. And that's just where he's leveled it out here, and then the wall is there, and then it drops down. And so my concern is that if we have a lot of rain and you start getting all this erosion and it goes flooding, it will impact other homes as you go down on the road there. So that's what I wanted to say. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any other, anybody want to speak in opposition? Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Diane Maness. I live at 396 Thorn Creek Road. We live right next to that lot. But I wanted to tell you a little something about that creek. It's not just the rain. When it rains heavily, it really flows. But there's at least 3 culverts, one from the cul-de-sac behind. I left my phone in the car, but it looks like a waterfall falling into it. And there's another one that my husband spoke about, and then there's another one from the high hill where it goes underneath. You know, it's from the other subdivision above us. So there's 3 of them. So when it really rains hard, it looks like a little river. It makes a little S like a little river. And it looks a little scary when it rains hard, but it doesn't have to rain that hard before all that water is just raging through there for a while. And it takes it a while after it stops raining to kind of settle down. So I just want to tell you about that water flow.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else in opposition? Seeing none, sir, you want to follow up?
Please. Mr. Corder, your question on the height, per mile, I'm 12 feet as far as my finished floor above the creek. As far as that should meet the 100-year flood. And I'm proposing this and I want to build this home, 2,435 square foot home. If I can't, I'm going to just have a plan drawn that will fit in that to build on here. I mean, we've purchased a lot. I need to build a lot. I'm trying to just keep the aesthetics of the neighborhood, not hurting anything. We'll do whatever the people need as far as the front lot everyone's spoken about, the gazebo. It was all agreed upon with the start, the HOA. They were going to move it for us. We waited on for. We've done everything we can do on our end to make sure that we're not disturbing anything. I completely understand their concerns with the creek, but the amount of rain and everything coming through that creek is not coming off of my lot. The pictures the lady, the ma'am had here just a few minutes ago, that was a concrete washout and some B&Ps in place doing what it's supposed to do. So I'll be more than glad to supply these people, don't have them with me, but a plan of what we're building so everyone can know. Like I said, I've already built one in there, and it's going to be basically the exact same, and there was no issues or any concerns with that right there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, I wanted to see if the committee has any questions for discussion. Ms. Ashmore?
I wanted to ask, the wall that was shown in one of those pictures, can you point out where on your site plan that is?
That is, if you'll see it here, what you're looking at there, you see where the encroachment and the arrow goes to that? That's all the back of that house is the encroachment.
You could actually point on that,
Yeah.
on the picture that's there.
Oh. just right here.
Okay.
Just that little square. That is the actual wall shot. This is when we caught this because we didn't know we were in this. And we went to do our box check and whatnot before we went any further, and that's when we realized this, and that's when we stepped back, done what we needed to do per the county, and to make sure that. So it's a very small area that I'm into that buffer, and I'm proposing mitigation on all that other area off to the right with no structures are going to be.
Any other questions? Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion on this application.
Can I say something that you've had the opportunity
Mr. Robinson, do we have any additional time? 2 minutes. Sir, if you'd like to come back forward, restate your name, and you've got 2 minutes left.
My name is David Horowitz, live at 116 Lexington Court, and I'm not opposed to somebody building, but if he can come up with a plan that would fit within the, and keep the easements where they are, I think that should be the better option that's approved. I'm not opposed to a home being built there. I'm worried about the easement or the creek, and it's how badly it goes through that area and could possibly erode and then leave somebody else's home in jeopardy down the road and in the future. It's not opposed to a home being built there. I think that we should, in this case, because it's right on a bend and there's lots of water that rushes over these boulders, we have tons of pictures of those that we can show. That's the only reason I feel the easement.
Maness, 396 Thorn Creek Way. What is the setback from the road? We've talked about the creek, but I want to make sure that whatever is, if it does get approved for a home there, I want to make sure the setback from the road is also proper. And I don't have the expertise of an engineer, but I'd like to know what that setback would be from the road.
25 feet off the utility. And we're meeting the setbacks.
Thank you. At this time, with those two additional comments, did that foster any additional comments from the committee?
He's asking for a 6.9 foot extension into the 40-foot buffer. It, shows he'll probably be 33 feet away from the top of bank, and actually the buffer's measured down there where the water is, not top of bank. He said he's 12 feet above the flood mark, not above the creek, but above the flood mark. And then, keeping with the same size square foot houses and 7-foot encroachment, I'll make a motion we approve this application.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the application. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
There's a second from Ms. Ashmore. Any discussion? No further discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Do we have any more business, Mr. Robinson, for today? That concludes our business agenda. At this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn from Mr. Jones, second from Mr. Quill. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.